Hi Taurus, welcome to your June 2020 Astrology 33 reading. Thank you to those of you who have liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, and donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. For those of you interested in booking a personal reading with me, just check out the description of the video for more details there. As far as what we have in front of us, it's a Celtic cross spread as always, and I also pulled a couple of oracle cards for you guys and a Mudra card. So getting started with the main spread. In the main situation position, we have Justice in reverse and the World card. So an interesting combination of cards here. This is the Major Arcana card for Libra. This card here I often view as a bit of Capricorn energy, but even more importantly than that, the North Node. So looking at these two cards together, with the Justice in reverse, I'll put in the upright while we talk about it. So when the Justice is in reverse, that tells me that you might have been done wrong in some way, or at the very least, you feel like you've been done wrong in some way. And this could have been possibly around the work situation for some of you, given that Libra is your sixth house of work and day-to-day routine. For others of you, of course, it could be a relationship, since Libra is the natural ruler of the seventh house. But with the World card showing up behind it, it shows me that could be a couple of things. One way it could be playing out is to say that karmically this was supposed to play out that way. And, through this thing happening to you, it's clearing the way for better things to come your way in the future with the World card, given that it represents completions and successful completions. Another way could be saying that, this situation you might be going through it, but also, the upside of that is because you were done wrong. If you actually were done wrong in some way, you gotta just have faith that the things will actually work out in your favor in the future because of that. And with the challenge or obstacle position, we have the Seven of Cups. So to me, the way that seems to be communicating in relation to these two cards is to say that you don't see it that way yet. So, which is to say, like when they say those kinds of things where you hear, they're almost cliche, where, oh, that thing, it was a blessing in disguise, right? When something bad happens to you. I feel like with this showing up in the challenge or obstacle position, it's that you're not seeing it that way yet. So it could just be saying that maybe a little bit more time needs to pass before you do realize that that situation, like I said, if you were done wrong in some way, whether it be around work or in a romantic relationship, you don't quite see it yet, but soon you'll actually see that that actually was the best thing that could have happened to you. In the foundation position, we have the Hierophant and the Two of Wands. So to me, this is saying that it looks like you guys are ready for a fresh start now after whatever the situation was. This is actually the Major Arcana card for your sign, and then this is actually a court card that represents Aries energy, the first 10 degrees of Aries, but more than anything, it represents taking action, taking a fresh start, a new approach to things. So that's what I'm seeing happening here, especially given that if we look at the layout of the spread, he's pointing right up to those cards, right? So to me, it's saying that this is actually what you needed. Maybe you needed a fresh start in some way, shape, or form, and that's what this is providing for you. And I do have to say, too, you guys are ruled by Venus, and given that this is your card, it points to Venus energy, and then so does this. Libra is also ruled by Venus, so we almost see that mirroring effect there too. So this could just be saying that what on the surface, if you look at it from an intellectual standpoint, might seem like you were done wrong in some way. In a more spiritual sense, it actually was supposed to work out the way that it did, and it was actually putting you on the right path with that Two of Wands underneath that. And then that would make sense too, as far as right now we actually have your ruler Venus going retrograde, and in the second house too, which is the house that you guys naturally rule. So it could have even been around finances in some way too. So technically, even if it was a romantic relationship or work, either of those could also involve finances too. So maybe you might have got shortchanged in some way, shape, or form. And it could just be saying that that's going to be rectified in your favor anyway. But like I said, you might not see it yet, but it looks like soon you might. In the past position, we have the Seven of Wands, the King of Wands, and the Ten of Swords. So for some of you, this can be surrounding a Leo situation, because this is technically a Leo card here, and then the King of Wands is the court card for Leo. But it could also just be saying that maybe this was someone that you were pretty close with, given that fourth house represents home, family. So it could have been someone you were living with, possibly even a relative, maybe even a father figure. But it looks like there was definitely some kind of a conflict there and an ending in the past. So that's what I'm seeing there. And then that would, I'm assuming, tie into the situation we see there. In the present position, we have the sun. So sometimes this could also point to Leo energy as well, but here I'm just seeing it more as the energy that you're going to be taking on, which is to be saying, like I said, I feel like for a lot of you, even if you don't see it right away, this is going to be a fresh start for you in some way, shape, or form. And given that the sun is in the upright, it's definitely a positive position to be in, and in a good spot too, as far as it's in the present position. So for those of you who watch this right when I post it, I'm recording it on, what is it, the 20th. So for those of you who might not feel that energy yet, maybe by the time we do get to June, given that this is a reading for June, you might start to feel this way. In the near future position, we have the Temperance card. So this is actually the major arcana card for Sagittarius. And the significance here is that we're actually going to have a full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Sagittarius this month. And this is actually, for you guys, that's your 8th house of, death, rebirth, and also represents finances of others. So let's say, to go back to a money example, let's say that maybe you had signed an agreement to have some kind of a loan, right? And maybe all of a sudden they might have backed out of the deal, right? With all the financial uncertainty going on in the world. And then this could just be saying that, might have been disappointing, but in the long run, it's actually going to work out in your favor. So, for example, maybe you end up getting a better deal on whatever that may have been, whatever transaction was going to be. And this also just represents balance being restored as well. So where we see the Justice card in reverse often pointing to imbalance, here with the Temperance card shown in the upright, we see balance. And then again, we definitely get that karmic vibe too, given that we see like the angel symbolism in the near future. So definitely watch out for that full moon eclipse in Sagittarius. You guys might see some kind of a shift as early as then, which would be, I think it's the 5th of June. So keep an eye out for that. All right, in the position of your influence on the situation, we have the 9 of Wands, so more Sagittarius energy here. And for you guys, this could just point to, feel like this is something where you feel like you've gone through the ringer, right? I mean, we could see it, his facial expression pretty much speaks for itself, and then we see it looks like he has a bandage on his head. And, this could just be saying this is how you're feeling. And maybe this has been something that you've been dealing with for a while. For some of you, 9 months, maybe even 9 years, right? So this is just something that you might have felt like, okay, well, there's going to be no positive outcome. You might have started to lose faith in the situation. And now that we're going to get that eclipse taking place pretty much in these same degrees, this represents the middle 10 degrees of Sagittarius, and that's where that full moon is going to be, right in the middle, 15 degrees. So could definitely be significance there where you might actually start to see a shift. And this to me just says that even if you do physically see something that's moving out of your way in a positive way, you might still not believe it. Like, okay, is this really what's going on or what? But eclipses can be powerful in that regard, so keep that in mind. And you guys have the North Node now in your 2nd house, which is again the house you naturally rule. So it should be a pretty solid 18 months for you guys overall. In the environment position, we have the 3 of Swords. So, of course, this is a card that we know points to heartbreak. Again, this is a Libra energy, so for some of you, this can definitely represent a disappointment around your work life, day-to-day routine. Of course, again, like I was saying earlier, it could also point to relationships for some of you. So maybe some of you did experience an ending in a relationship recently. But again, like I said, given the supporting cards that I see around it, it looks like karmically it really was time for that connection to end. And, in that regard, looks like you should be able to get some forward progress in a positive way. Now, this could also point to another person. So, for example, if this was a relationship that ended, this could be saying that this is the position that that person feels that they're in right now. But For a lot of you, I feel like this is more centered around the way you might have been feeling. In the hopes or fears position, we have the Five of Pentacles. So, it goes without saying, I mean, the artwork speaks for itself here. I doubt that any of you would hope for this energy, so I feel like this is a fear for a lot of you. And this actually is a Taurus energy. This represents the first 10 degrees of Taurus. We have Uranus moving through those degrees right now. And to me, this is just saying, like I said, for a lot of you, this actually could have been a work situation that might have gone south. And if that's the case, I mean, like I said, it looks like that things really will work out in your favor. And it could even be that these Seven of Cups is, maybe you felt like it was a job that you were going to be in for the long run, right? With the Hierophant there, maybe you thought for sure, oh, okay, this is my career, right? Because the Hierophant represents that stability and tradition too. And now you're in that Two of Wands position of feeling like you have to start over in some way. And maybe this is even saying with the Seven of Cups in that regard, then that maybe you just have a lot of options. And because you weren't expecting this change to take place, you don't know which way to go right now. So that could be part of the problem as well. But with this showing up here, what I always point out to people, even if this is a card that looks like an amazing sign, or if it looks like a pretty rough one, like this one here, I just point out to people this is just a hopes or fears position. There's no necessary indicator it's going to play out. It's just that it's more that's something that's on your mind. So, again, whether this is having to start over in a romantic relationship sense or around finances, this is how you feel the situation might play out, but all the surrounding cards I'm seeing seem to point to a much more positive outcome. And speaking of outcome, if I could pick up the freedom card, there we go. You have the Ace of Pentacles. So, again, this is what I was saying when we were looking at the Justice in reverse with the World card, which to me, like I said, a situation you might have felt like you were done wrong in some way. With the World card right underneath it represents that, hey, that was supposed to be a cycle that was supposed to be completed, and now you can move on. And with this Ace of Pentacles, I see that this is saying that towards the end of the month, at the very least, if not sooner than that, you might actually start to finally feel that energy. Now, what I always say with the aces is they represent, the hand coming out of the cloud is always the most significant thing to me with the aces in this deck, which to me represents it's an idea. It's not necessarily playing out. It's just more in the idea stage or possibly being discussed but not physically taking place. So going with the job example, right? This could be as simple as you might actually go on some job interviews, right? And maybe they'll tell you, yes, we're going to offer you the job, but let's say, oh, it doesn't start until July 15th, right? So, okay, you're not going to have that money in your hand, but now you understand that, okay, we've made an agreement that, that's when I'm going to start working. By the end of July, I should have a paycheck at the latest, right? So something along those lines. Could be something like that where at the very least the ball is going to be rolling by the end of June. And there's going to be 2 new moons in Cancer as well this month. Well, not this month, forever. This Cancer season, towards the end of June, we're going to have a new moon right around 0 degrees of Cancer. Then there's going to be one towards the end of Cancer season. So could be a lot of communication around that time as well. We're going to have Mercury retrograde for a while, so keep an eye out for that. So they might even say that could be what takes place too. It might just take a few different conversations to actually get things set in concrete, but this definitely shows positive forward progress. And at the bottom of the deck, we have the Queen of Cups. So this is actually Cancer energy here. So again, this could be pointing to the significance of by the time of Cancer season, you're going to have something that's worth valuing once again with that cup, right? I mean, we could see that she clearly seems to value that cup that she's holding. So this could just be saying that by the time we get into Cancer season, which would coincide with that Ace of Pentacles we see there too, you should have the ball rolling again in a positive way. And this could just represent communication as well. So again, if you guys have to communicate something to someone, if you haven't expressed that there was some kind of disappointment, if you haven't expressed that you feel like you've been done wrong in some way, you might actually have to do so to get things rolling as well. So keep that in mind. Maybe there's someone who isn't aware that that's how you're feeling, so you might have to actually express it to get the ball rolling in that regard. All right, moving on to the Oracle cards. First, we have TikTok. There's the artwork, and the number is 30. Okay, it says timelessness, divine timing, immeasurable time. The Oracle's message. When humans created time, everything changed and contracted. People have come to look at life in a linear way, imagining that the past is behind them and the future ahead of them. But what if that isn't true at all? What if everything, creativity, beauty, chaos, and order, were happening now in a glorious timelessness? You have all the time in the world to co create the life you desire, so release your agenda. Let go of your need to shape each moment to your expectations, knowing that what is yours will never be withheld from you. Miracles are here right now and always show up when you need them, right on time. So that message in particular makes me think back to one, what we were saying with the Justice in Reverse and the World card, but also what I was saying with the Temperance card about things, balance being restored in a way, and with the, you know, angelic symbolism there as well. That could represent something that you might feel was almost like a miracle in some way, shape, or form. Not to like overblow it. That sounds a little dramatic, right? But it just might be something that you didn't expect, especially with that Nine of Wands energy, where you might have just almost resigned yourself to things staying the way they were. But then things might start to shift in a positive way for you guys. And like I said, watch out for some kind of news or some sign around the time of that full moon eclipse in Sag. All right, the relationship message says love, the fulfillment of desire, and even the body's reproductive cycles have their own timetable. Some things are preordained and cannot be coerced. Everything has its season, its divine and appropriate timing, especially when it comes to matters of the heart. Remember that you always have enough time for love, to find it, to nurture it, to give and receive it. Its clock is eternal and ticks according to the beating of your heart in perfect rhythm. Isn't that wonderful to know? Love is always right on time. So definitely a pretty positive message there as well. And then we could even see some indicators pointing to love as far as the sun card could point to that as well, given that it's like a natural fifth house type vibe. Queen of Cups as well. All right, and then the prosperity message says your prosperity is co-created by your endeavors as they occur in human-made time and the eternal efforts of your most important manifestation partner, spirit, in a divine, measureless time. So keep doing what you're doing. Stay positive and make a commitment to remain in high vibration thoughts and feelings. If you heed the message of this card, it will seem as if you will align with your highest calling and your highest good in no time at all, like magic. So what's all the fuss about not having enough time? The prosperous life that is yours will never pass you by. So definitely a pretty positive message there too, especially given that we do see your major arcana card in the foundation, which goes to show that if nothing else, even if things don't seem this way right now, the things that are happening around you really are meant to get you back into your own, on your correct path anyway. So hopefully that resonated with you guys. And next we have from the Spirit Animal Oracle, you guys got Wombat Spirit. It says be at home. I feel like everyone's probably done more than their fair share of that lately, but it's what the card says. There's the artwork, and the number is 68. Okay, it says burrowing deep into the ground, remaining safe, sound, and well fed with family is a special trait of the wombat. Home sweet home is always available if you recognize that well being is the truth of life. Wombat Spirit reminds you that to be truly at home in the world, you need to find comfort within your own skin. You do this by accepting all your experience without judgment through a deep honesty and love of life. When you feel the freedom to be yourself, you can begin to truly feel at home in your life with your family and tribe. Right now, you're in a beautiful place where you can hang up the coat of your identity and settle into a true sense of home and well being, understanding that all is well. Everything you do from this place rings true in harmony with spirit. So definitely a pretty cool message there, and I have to say, what it could even be for some of you on an even deeper level with that um, Leo energy there again, given that that represents your fourth house. It could even be like maybe revealing some beliefs that you might have had from when you grew up, and now maybe you're realizing that they don't fit for you anymore. So maybe that's where the fresh start energy is coming from there. Like, okay, well, that's how I was raised, but now I'm starting to see that some of these beliefs don't fit for me anymore. So it could be one of those things. But hopefully that resonated with you guys. And then the last thing we have is a mudra for your sign, and we have the Yoni mudra. There it is there. And the keyword for it is receptivity. So definitely good energy to be in, especially for you guys, being ruled by Venus. All right, so not everything's going to fit in the frame now, but if you want to pause it or take a screenshot, you can to see what it has to say. And then I'll move it up so you could see the rest. All right, but yeah, under benefits, it says improves the health of the sexual organs, invites a healthy sense of sacredness around sexuality, increases receptivity, fluidity, and emotional sensitivity, serves as a gateway to embrace what we can't understand, creates a physical mandala to worship the divine feminine. So that sounds like something you think would be beneficial for you guys. I will put the name of that mudra in the description as always. We'll wrap up there, and I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.